sell. There's a Raila's big promise there. There's also a conversation with some leaders that is a hard sell there. This is rather subjective, but you come from the region. What is your general feeling on the ground?
Well, that is true because of history and myths. I come from Udaya. I don't particularly know what the former Prime Minister has done to me or to my people. In any case, we in Nyeri, he has helped us with Kibaki Tosha. So we should look at him favorably. But then myths and tribal, what can you call it, stigmatization. You know, for a long, long time in Nyeri, you couldn't even marry a Luo. You know, forget voting, even just to date or to be a friend. I mean, in my backyard, if you brought a lady called Pamela, the village held a meeting. And it could even be a Pamela who's Pamela Mkikuyu, but they, you know, just Pamela to Maureen. We even had names that we had associated with that region. Yeah. So that myth from the father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, now running up to Raila Odinga. And what I want our people to understand is opposition politics. Yeah. That being an opposition leader does not mean you're an enemy. It means that you have different views. And look at, for example, for a long time, the divide was on devolution. Central Kenya did not support devolution, which we called Majimbo then. Yeah. Look at us now. In BBI, we were the biggest enthusiasts of devolution, actually wanting more resources to come down to devolution. So there was no need of demonizing the person who for a long, long time believed in devolution and Senate. So it's opposition in the sense of difference of views and not difference of people and character. Yeah. So I'm hoping that in the time that he will be running, that now we can have those conversations. Yeah. What exactly has he done to us? You know, wait a moment, has there been any harm to us in Mount Kenya region? And because he is a leader like every other, can we consider him on the content of leadership? And we are particularly careful around the fair representation and the resources. Our counties are struggling with resources. Yeah. If this is the candidate that promises us fair representation and resources, the history and the stigmatization, we should not refuse to marry him just because he's called Raila.
All right. And on Wandai, this is actually one of the central questions here. How do we move away from politics of ethnicity and regional balance to the content of the character of the leader? Because it's not just him who was there. I mean, ANC party leader was also there just the other day. Everybody seems to be trooping to Mount Kenya. Then now everybody else starts feeling like, okay, now we've been left alone. In fact, Kingi of the coastal region said now we need a party of our own to champion our own issues.
Well, I don't think it is an impossible task. Yeah, but it will take some time. Again, you must also realize, Trevor, that this so-called ethnic politics of mobilization has been made possible by politicians. Okay, the people themselves have got no problem whatsoever. Kenyans of all walks of life, from wherever they stay and live, have got no issue with one another because they go through same challenges, similar problems, similar frustrations. When they are happy together. So I think and I hope that this coming election should be a defining moment for this country in terms of making it possible for Kenyans to realize that we are all bound together, as people who belong to this great nation called Kenya. And again, for Kenyans to realize that it does not really matter from which ethnic group or region in this country president comes from. What matters is that institutions of government work. Yeah. They work, they are effective, they are efficient, and they deliver services to wananchi equally and equitably. That is the most important thing. And I can tell you, Trevor, there's no material difference in the welfare or in the life of a peasant farmer in, say, Gatundu South today, and of that of a peasant farmer in Rusinga Island, in Mbita, in Suba North constituency. So there is nothing that differentiates the two, despite the fact that the president comes from Gatundu South. Yeah. And the people of Rusinga Island have never seen a president come from the region for eons. Yeah. So we need to continue to educate our people to understand that voting is simply a civic duty that they need to exercise responsibly. Yeah. taking into consideration the plight of the present generation and the plight of the coming generations.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think this is going to be a very, very, very important election.
Yeah.
And I hope and trust that we shall come out of it stronger and more united as a country.
Yeah. Onyonka, this really actually is the silver bullet to the entire country. How do we ensure that from wherever the president or the deputy comes from, everybody in the country feels like they're part of the united nation and cohesion as well? Because there's always, if our person is there, then the resources will come to us. If it is not there, then we need to jibanga, so to speak. And it's the politicians, like Wandai is saying, it's the politicians who are pushing that narrative.
Actually, Trevor, that's a very, very good question. And that's why some of us were looking at BBI as the vehicle that would most probably be tackling some of those issues. I'll give you an example. What is it that has happened in our country for the last 15 years? We've had elections which have been disputed. In those elections, the person on the team that has been working with, you're talking about Raila with Kalonzo, with Musalia, with Weta, and this team. And what are we fighting for when we come or when we start telling Kenyans that, look, we have two different views on where we are headed? All right? To me, I sometimes look around and I'm like, I wonder what Kenyans think at such a time. The reason for that is we have been waiting in the opposition for 10 years.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, Deputy President William Ruto has actually been in government for the last 10 years. He has been with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Uhuru allowed him to manage and run around with the government, everything, because he's the substantive number 2 in this Jubilee government.
Yeah.
To me, I think the question that Kenya should be asking is not where Raila comes from or what Kalonzo can do or what Musalia will do. Let us first ask ourselves, how has Jubilee performed? What has happened in those 10 years?
Yeah.
I mean, Trevor, it's like I always ask this question when somebody is telling me, what is it, why don't you want to vote for the deputy president? You know, he's a good man. I say, yeah, he's a good man. But let me ask you, if Trevor today, you give me a secondary school principal, and when he comes in, this principal is able to take 58 university students to university. After 10 years, you find the guy is taking 1. Would you promote the deputy president under those circumstances? My argument is no. And this is what the issue has been about the deputy president. And these are the issues that I think Kenyans need to seriously engage on. The question is, Jubilee has done certain things, and I always give them credit for that. There are certain things when you look and you see. I mean, I'll give you an example. If you look at the policies that Uhuru brought under POA, enabling the women to access government jobs, to making sure that they get tenders, it's been incredible, because I'm in the constituency and I see how the law works, and I see how females in my constituency come and they are given that job by the Kera people or even under CDF projects. There are certain positive things that Jubilee has done, but at the same time, there are things I am really worried about as a Kenyan.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years, Jubilee has made Kenya to be the most indebted nation most probably in Africa.
Yeah.
We have moved from 1.5 trillion, which was there when Kibaki left. Now we are at 11 trillion shillings. Shouldn't we discuss this? All right? When you're looking at the UDA team talking about, oh, we are going to have bottom-up approach and everything, I want them, and this is nothing to do with spite or disagreement for the disagreement's sake.
Yeah.
I want them to tell me, when we start our bottom-up thing, this is how we'll pay for it. The debts which we have incurred, this is how we are going to start repaying for them.
Okay.
The taxes that we are collecting, this is how we'll manage them. In other words, let them give me something substantive,
okay,
and that is going to come out there and change our country. On the other side, our opposition team, yes, I will tell you, one of the issues, the retreat that we had in Naivasha, we were discussing under the One Kenya Alliance. We said, what is it that we are going to tell Kenyans we will do at the levels of corruption in the country?
Yeah.
What are we going to do about equity and fairness? What are we going to do to make sure that we have a country that is functional, a country that is doing its business, whereby Kenyans are happy about it? Why is it that Kenyans are complaining that their taxes are too high? And these are the things that we need to discuss.
Okay.
What if, for example, I'm sure Wandai knows that in Ghana, what President Addo did when he came in as president, he said we are going to prorate all tax at 5%. And you know what Ghana has done? It has received 8 times taxes that they've been receiving since independence by just one simple act. Shouldn't we have new ideas in our country? Shouldn't we change? Instead of us, every day we are talking about these tribal arrangements.
Yeah.
And yet it is a fact. For me, if I come from a small tribe, a small community, how do I have my opportunity not being diminished simply because I don't have the numbers that I'm supposed to have? Why is it that our politics today is so vitriolic? Yani, every day you wake up and you're looking at the newspaper and you are seeing on social media, it is hate, it is cantankerousness, it is people threatening other people.
Yeah.
Or when we take over government, you are going to see, like you've been seeing, there's a story that is everywhere from last week. You, Mr. Matiang'i, you will see when we take over power, you are going to see what is going to happen to you. Matiang'i is a civil servant who's been employed by Uhuru. These people of UDA should be attacking Uhuru himself. Don't attack. Matiang'i is a servant. Okay. This is the politics we need to move out of. This is the politics. I saw somebody say that, in fact, the way it is here, it is going to be a hard sell for Raila in Central. It may be even a hard sell for Kalonzo and Musalia. No. Allow these people to go to those communities and every part of the country, let them campaign.
Okay.
Once these people campaign, the voters will begin to ask themselves, which alternatives are we having? Okay. And I believe that the Kenyan voter is not stupid. The Kenyan voter is very rational. Yeah. If you see a Kenyan voter making a sound, initially they'll make noise, they'll be screaming, they'll be telling you whatever stories. But when the elections come, they will vote according to what their minds and their hearts are telling them.
Okay. I have to take a quick break here, but I know Manzo hasn't spoken for a while. Let me take a quick break, then I come back to you in just a bit. And we'll talk about one of the issues that the NC party leader brought up when he was in Murang'a. He was in the Mount Kenya region, attending a church. He spoke about the IBC. And he said that this issue of trying to have Wafula Chebukati replaced is wrong intended. We'll find out from the panelists what they think in just a bit. I see a lot of your feedback. We'll take it in just a bit when we come back at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. See you shortly.